Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay, and just a little bit of question for you. This is a discussion video about the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G and the Sony Xperia 1. Now, in recent days, you've heard me say I'm not spending $1,300 on a phone. $1,000 is my limit. I stand true on that. But the reason I posed this question about the Sony Xperia 1 or the Galaxy S10 5G is because this. I'm not, first I'm going to just give you the skinny of it. Basically, the Xperia 1 for $950 or the Galaxy S10 5G for $1,000. Actually found the phone for $1,000 brand new, and I gotta admit, it intrigued me. Not just the price tag. If you've seen the other video that I posted, I've been interested in the Galaxy S10 5G because of the way the phone is. The size of the screen, the hardware, the cameras. I'm ready to test them. It has nothing to do with me saying, oh, I don't want the Sony Xperia 1, because I do want the Sony Xperia 1. However, I'm a little bit on the fence now because the Galaxy S10 5G has a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Quad HD display, and it's pretty much all screen on the front. And when you get the Xperia 1, it has a 4K display at 6.5 inches. The Xperia 1 will probably be better in the hand. I don't have anything about either one. It's kind of like a toss-up. I want the 4K display, but that Galaxy S10 5G is looking pretty nice, man. It's looking pretty good. Also, that is the 512 gigabyte model of the Galaxy S10 5G for $1,000. That is a sweet deal, folks. Now I know you guys are gonna say, oh, Jay, don't do it. The Galaxy Note 10 is coming. Imagine how much the Galaxy Note 10 will cost in a 512 gigabyte version. The Galaxy S10 5G cost $13 or $14, I believe, for the 512 gig model. So let me go to the website real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the 5G version of the Galaxy S10. And then I'm going to look at the 512 gig model, the pricing. Let's see here. Let's browse the phones. Let's buy. And I'm going to go ahead and put the 512 gig model of the S10 5G in here, and it comes to $1,400. I found it for $1,000. Now the Sony Xperia 10 is pretty much $1,000. It's $950. So $50 more, I get 512 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, a bigger screen by a hair. I get a beautiful design. I get a headphone jack. I get a few more things for that $50. The memory alone is probably worth it. Going from 128 gigs and 6 gigs to 8 gigs with 512 gigs. Now granted, there's no expandable storage in the S10 5G. However, 512 gigs with 500 available to the user, like 498 available to the user. I don't think I'm gonna run out of that anytime soon. The Galaxy S10 was on the table for a little bit. Then I moved up to the Galaxy S10 Plus. And yes, would you buy the Galaxy S10 5G for $1,000? Remember, I'm not buying it for the 5G. It gets 4G LTE. So I'm not buying it for that. The Sony Xperia 1, on the other hand, has a beautiful 4K display. It's got the 21:9 aspect ratio. beautiful. You guys know I love that ratio. But a kicker about the S10 5G is it can shoot portrait video. Something that I'm obviously doing with my Canon SL3 with the 24mm prime lens. However, the LG G8 can do this too. However, it's not as clear as a DSLR, obviously. I'm not looking for that. But I'm really curious to see how the Galaxy S10 5G would do. I'm really intrigued by this device. I made another video about it the other night. 5G, I'm not impressed with 5G. But in that video I did state, man, if I could, if I could get that device, I would like it. And so I got online and I started searching. And I found it for $1,000. And I thought, whoa, man, this kind of shook up my plan a little bit. The pre-orders are getting ready to start for the Xperia 1. You're getting a $350 headphones free. That's a good deal. Which one would you do? Would you do the Sony Xperia 10, even without the free headphones? Would you just do the Sony? But those are the WH-1000XM3 powerful set of headphones. Oh man! But just forget about the headphones, because that's a bundle if you pre-order. Let's just say I'm out of my pre-order phase, and let's just say I'm gonna swipe my card right now. Which one would you do? Would you do the Sony Xperia 1 for $950? 4K display, cinematic, 21:9, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. Great, that's enough for more than enough for people. Haven't tested either one of these cameras. Haven't tested either one of the cameras. Haven't used either one of these phones. But I have a history with Samsung, much longer than Sony, but I have a very good history with Sony. Love Sony phones. Love Samsung phones. So, I love to get the input of other people. Now, I just put up a poll on Twitter, and I put up a poll on my community tab in YouTube. Let's take a look at those polls at the recording of this video. So on Twitter, on Twitter, I only have like 2,900 people, 2,800 followers. There's always less interaction on Twitter. No matter how many people I have following me, there's just not as much interaction on Twitter. However, I'm going to read these numbers to you. I'll put these polls up at the same time. The Galaxy S10, now this is coming from 11 votes. Right now at this very moment, this poll has been up for 27 minutes at the recording of this video, and there's 11 votes. 73% says Galaxy S10 5G. And a lot of people might be basing this, for the people that are telling me to get the Sony, there's a few people that say, just get the Sony, you've been saying you wanted it, and I can buy them both. I'm not flexing, but this is about which one I want to start with. %, Galaxy S10 5G, 27%, Sony Xperia 1, Twitter poll. Let's switch over to the YouTube poll, the one I got on my community tab. Let's refresh. This one has been up for 28 minutes. There's a comment from Grant on Twitter that said, I said, I'm looking for a big phone with a nice screen. He said, man, I think you already had it, which was the Mate 20X. And he was right. The Mate 20X, fantastic phone. However, the Mate 20X is a wide phone. I like that. But when next to these phones, these will be comfortable in the hand over time. Mate 20X is a bigger phone, beautiful cameras. But if I had to choose the Mate 20X or the Sony Xperia 1 or the Galaxy S10 5G, the Mate 20 would probably be at the bottom of that list. It would be number 3, and one of the other guys would be number 2. Even though I haven't used the other two, I have experience with the Mate 20X, and I know how great that phone is. But these phones are offering something completely different, which I'm more intrigued by. Make sense? So let's read the poll numbers. But the same poll that's been up, same amount of time, it has 113 votes so far. And again, it is, I got my dark theme on. I got to turn my dark theme off. I can't see the numbers on there like that. So here we go. Let's go back. So it is just about even in what people will recommend. There's more comments on this one though, and I'll read some of those comments. 72% of the 116 votes now, so I just refreshed, say Galaxy S10 5G. 28% Sony Xperia 1. Now let me read some of these comments. I say don't get the Galaxy S10 5G because you already stated you're not willing to spend $1,300 for a phone. Of course, if you change your mind, it's your prerogative. And he goes on to say something else. And my response was immediately, but I didn't put it in the listing, but both phones are pretty much the same. $1,000 for the 5G S10 and $950 for the Sony Xperia 1. That person hasn't responded yet. There's comments in here that have nothing to do with the post, so I'm just removing them. And pretty much S10 5G, there's comments in here that people are talking about phones that have nothing to do with this post. So honestly, I'm removing them. And then, you know, one person says Sony Xperia 1, of course. All the other comments say Galaxy S10 5G. There's a comment in here. The guy says, man, I love Sony, but as a company, they got to step their game up. 4K screen, but average cameras. They should be on top regarding the cameras, but they're just not there yet. I don't know why that person is making that comment because that's totally not true. I don't think that person has either one of these phones, and I think they might be just basing it off of what somebody else said. No disrespect, but I'm pretty sure you don't have both of these phones, the Xperia 1 or the Galaxy S10 5G. So comments like that, I read them, I look at them, I just say, okay, well, whatever. So what do you think? Galaxy S10 5G, 6.7-inch display, 4,500 milliamp hour battery. Yeah, it's not even about the 5G, it's just about the phone itself. It's what I'm intrigued by. Lately, I haven't been jumping out there buying a bunch of phones. I was like, I'm gonna wait on the Galaxy Note. I'm gonna wait on the Xperia. I mean, the Pixel is fantastic, daily driven. But in my position, I'm gonna tell you something that some tech reviewers probably won't ever say. We have our favorites, yeah. We have our favorites. This is a fact. However, there comes a time where you want to hone in on one phone and just keep rolling with your main SIM card in it and never take it out, and have your other line for reviewing phones. I think a lot of people are always there, but if you have as many phones as I have, and a lot of people watching this probably have a lot of phones. I know a lot of people don't have 50 to 100 phones, but tech reviewers probably do. And how do you guys settle in on that one phone that you just won't take your SIM card out of? I have that feeling with my iPhone 10 as my second SIM. It just doesn't, it's just earned its spot as number 2 for a daily driven phone. Now my main SIM card stays in the Pixel 3 XL a very long time, and also stays in with the LG G8 currently. I have this love-hate relationship with larger phones, but I just really like to have a big phone. But I want a big phone with a big screen that's not too bulky. And right now, that's the Sony Xperia 1 from where I sit. You can disagree or you can say, no, it's this other phone. I understand. But the Sony Xperia 1 is a phone that I've been waiting 5 months for. And honestly, pre-orders are in 2 days, 1 day at the recording of this video. So it's not which one I'm going to get. It's just the Galaxy S10 5G at the price of the Sony Xperia 1 moves to the top of my list of fully, you got my attention. Straight up. I don't know. I just saw the announcement of T-Mobile. I knew about the 5G version of the S10. Didn't really give it much thought. And then when T-Mobile made that announcement the other day, I started looking. I said, I gotta look into this phone. I mean, I gave it a second look. And then last night after I made that video, found it for $1,000. 512 gigs. And I thought, Samsung makes some of the best displays, if not the best, by a lot of people have rated. But Sony has that 4K display. And this is one where I'm fully engaged in both. I had a gentleman on Twitter say, don't back out now. I was like, I'm not backing out. I could put both of them on the table right now. No strain off, no pressure on me. I won't lose any sleep by buying both right now. It won't hurt me in any kind of way. Not bragging, I'm just saying it won't hurt me, but then, you know, doing so, you won't get the gist of a good review. So I have a plan. I'm just kind of, you know, making this video for a moment. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to chat for a little bit and get your feedback on it. Don't tell me Sony is trash, Samsung is trash. Comments like that are just, they're silly. They hold no value, and people tend to base I see people making comments like that off of something somebody else said or an experience they had like 5 years ago. One of the classics is LG with the boot loop. That crap happened like 5 years ago or longer, 6 years. I don't know how long it's been. People still ride that wave. They gave up on the company and decided to move on. And I respect that. I respect them not willing to take the risk again with a company that they had a bad experience with. We all do that at one point or another. However, the companies are not, the Sony phones are not trash. Samsung phones are not trash. All phones have something about them that's not gonna be flawless. It's just not, it has to be. The Sony Xperia 1, if I get that first, I might not like the cameras, or I might not like the screen, or I might not like the battery. I get the 5G S10 first, I might say, oh man, you know, I really wish I had got that 4K display for, and okay, now I gotta go ahead and buy it. You never know. Just don't know. So don't leave a comment saying, oh, Sony's trash or Samsung's trash. Get this phone instead. We're not talking about whatever other phone you're talking about. I'm talking about the Galaxy S10 5G and the Sony Xperia 1. Don't want to hear about any other phones. I'm not interested in any other phones in this conversation. Just need some feedback on what you guys think. What would you do? If you had $1,000 in your hand and both phones sitting on the desk, and I say I'm gonna slide either one of these to you, you just give me $1,000 and you pick the one you want, which one would you pick? That's pretty much where I'm at. Because honestly, I'm ready. I could buy the international version of the Xperia 1 right now too. It costs a little less than $950. And it's the same phone. It's just the J9110, which has all the LTE bands as the J8170 and the J8110. LTE is not a problem with either phone. You see? So, thanks for joining me in this discussion. What would you do? What would you do? It's your man Jay. Late night. Want to get your thoughts? Tell me about it. I want to see you in the comments with some legitimate answers. And especially if you have. Now, there are people out there that actually have both phones. I know who you are, but there's also people out there that have one or the other. So whichever phone you have of these two phones, put your comment in there, you know, Jay, hey, I have this phone and this is how I feel about this phone. Oh, Jay, I have both phones. Here is how I feel. You understand what I'm saying? And if you don't have the phones, you still weigh in on what you would do. Tell me what you would do. I'm totally open for it. I want to know. It's your man Jay. Now I'm really out. Thanks for joining me. Let's chat.